Okay, picture this: the President of the United States, ringside, at a cage fight. Sounds like a wild movie plot, right? But this isn't Hollywood, folks. We're talking about Donald Trump and his unprecedented foray into the world of UFC. Forget boring policy meetings. Trump brought the ultimate fighting spectacle straight into the political arena and even to the White House. Whether you love him or, well, his presence ignited a media firestorm and cemented UFC's place in mainstream culture. Get ready, because this is the story of how Trump turned the Oval Office into a VIP lounge for MMA royalty. Remember UFC 244 at Madison Square Garden? The BMF belt was on the line between Masvidal and Diaz. But honestly, the biggest buzz might have been outside the octagon. Donald Trump, a sitting president, walking into a live UFC event. That had never happened before. The crowd went absolutely wild, a mix of cheers and jeers, but undeniable energy. It wasn't just a fight, it was a political spectacle, blurring the lines between sports, entertainment, and the highest office in the land. Talk about making an entrance. This wasn't just attending, it was a statement. Speaking of that BMF belt, its winner, Jorge Masvidal, didn't just walk away with bragging rights. He walked straight into the White House. In 2020, Masvidal, alongside UFC President Dana White, visited Donald Trump. Can you imagine the BMF belt, a symbol of ultimate toughness, being paraded through the corridors of power? It was surreal. Masvidal, known for his street fights and no-nonsense attitude, seemed right at home. This wasn't just a photo op, it was an affirmation of a unique, powerful alliance between the world of combat sports and the political elite. Talk about making a statement. But Masvidal wasn't the only champ to get a presidential invite. After his dominant win at UFC 276, the last stylebender himself, Israel Adesanya, met with Trump. And guess what? He brought a gift. Adesanya, a phenomenal middleweight champion, literally gifted his championship belt to Donald Trump. A championship belt for the president. This kind of exchange is practically unheard of in modern politics, yet it became a norm in the Trump era. It underscored the deep personal connection and mutual respect between Trump and these high-profile fighters, adding another layer to the political MMA crossover. None of this happens in a vacuum. A huge part of this story is Dana White, the man who built UFC into a global empire. Dana White isn't just a business acquaintance, he's a long-standing friend and one of Trump's most vocal supporters. He even spoke at the Republican National Conventions in both 2016 and 2020. That's serious political endorsement from a major sports figure. This isn't just about casual support, it's a deep, personal loyalty that facilitated these unprecedented White House visits and ringside appearances. Dana's unwavering friendship really opened those doors. Now, you might think Trump's dive into UFC was a new thing, but his love for combat sports goes way back. Long before the White House, long before UFC was mainstream, Trump was a fixture in the wrestling world. We're talking 80s and early 90s, when he hosted WrestleMania 4 and V at his legendary Trump Plaza in Atlantic City. He wasn't just a spectator, he was a promoter, a host, a part of the spectacle. This long history with high-impact, high-drama events made his eventual embrace of UFC feel less random and more like a natural progression for a showman who knew how to draw a crowd. Beyond the headlines and the spectacle, Trump's involvement had a tangible impact on the UFC. For years, the sport struggled to shake off its too violent or niche labels. But when a sitting president attends your events and invites your champions to the White House, that's a serious legitimacy boost. His presence brought unprecedented media attention, pushing UFC further into the mainstream consciousness. Suddenly, the sport wasn't just for hardcore fans, it was part of the national conversation, gaining a level of respect and visibility it had never experienced before. That's massive for growth. And what an impact it had. The UFC, once a fledgling organization facing bans and controversy, has transformed into a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. It's now broadcast on ESPN, reaching millions of households, and boasts a massive global fan base, especially appealing to younger demographics. This wasn't just luck, it was a strategic rise, fueled by savvy promotion, incredible athletes, and yes, even the unexpected spotlight cast by a presidential figure. The sport's journey from the fringes to a global powerhouse is truly remarkable, solidifying its place in the pantheon of major sports. So, what do you get when you mix a former president, known for his showmanship and unconventional politics, with a sport like UFC, famous for its raw, unfiltered energy? You get a historic spectacle. It was controversial, sure, amplifying both Trump's and UFC's public personas. But it also brought unprecedented attention, legitimacy, and a level of mainstream integration that transformed the sport forever. Whether you think it was genius marketing or just a wild spectacle, there's no denying that Trump's UFC fights brought a unique, unforgettable chapter to both sports and political history. What a ride!